This is a very rep without rep approach, meaning experience is vital. Perception requires information, which can only be perceived through exploration. Rob Gray says that on one of his podcasts. Exploration. Being in a myriad of different situations that allow the learners to educate their intention, what they intend to actualize. Certain perception and actions can be more beneficial than others. Sean spoke to the intent of coming in here and accepting it. Certain are better than others. Your intentions can shift and change on a sporting pitch, field, rink, court, whatever it may be, within the moment. They're not fixed going into a movement. The education of attention might be that center of mass. Information-rich areas that are going to provide what we need to have these emergent, adaptive, self-organizing tendencies that are thought to arrange themselves through our perceptual motor landscape as attractors or stable catalysts. Within that human movement system, we also have fluctuations. Now, those fluctuations allow for our dexterity, our ability to solve any problem. I won't give you Bernstein's full example, or full definition, but the ability to solve any emergent movement problem. Being able to do it correctly, and so on. This is also with the dexterity. Dexterity is not in the movements themselves, but in the surrounding conditions. Once again, we hear this like common language of encompassing, holistic, circular, coalescing. Things are all together. A friend of mine in the room here, I once made mention, whether it was his original, probably was, he's a bright guy, or whether it was something that he heard on a podcast once said, imagine you're watching a movie and you just see the actor or the actress on the screen. There's no backdrop whatsoever. It doesn't create much context for you. But you're coaching that actor how they need to move and how they need to act. Then you have a backdrop, and all of a sudden you can understand and actualize what's actually occurring because there's context there for you. It has not been decontextualized and then thought to drop back in and occur later on. Something that hasn't been mentioned before we move to the next slide is the constraints-led approach, a model that's used under an ecological dynamics framework to guide or encourage movement behaviors to emerge as dynamic processes through using constraint manipulation. Constraints can be space, constraints can be boundaries, constraints can be information through instruction, constraints can be surface, constraints can be the weather. There's a lot of different types of constraints. In a constraints-led approach, rather than telling someone this is what you need to do, you are rather channeling behavior that may be more beneficial for them through a relationship you have with that performer or those performers by changing the constraints, often rep to rep. Something that falls underneath the constraints-led approach, we went over this yesterday. Performer, individual, organism, animal, however you want to look at it, essentially the athlete in this situation. The environment and the task. The performer has physical constraints. Height, weight, muscle, fat ratio. There's examples. There's a variety of anthropometric features, what I can do with my extremities and how I can coordinate them. Functional constraints, emotions, cognitions. This is a bright group of people. You don't think I didn't come into this a little bit nervous? Hopefully I did. That means I care. But those are constraints. Those are going to channel what type of behavior in combination with the environment, what it presents, and what the task is in front of that athlete or athletes. It's going to constrain how they function. Now, these don't operate independently, rather they are interdependent upon one another. Next one being the environment, physical. Okay, is it going to rain today? What's the surface like? What's the humidity or moisture in the air like? What's the altitude like? Those are physical constraints that the environment puts out there. Crowd noise. Okay? That's one that a lot of us are familiar with because we've always heard the teams that turn up those loudspeakers during practice, hopefully perturb some of the normal things that occur. There's also sociocultural constraints that fall underneath an environment. This right here is a perfect example. You've got a group of people, all like-minded to a certain extent. That's going to influence how I deliver and how each one of these presenters up here delivers our message. And not even that, how you interact amongst one another throughout the next 2 days. Think about regionalisms. Think about playing soccer in Brazil, football in Brazil. It is not okay to lose. I'm from Texas, Allen, Texas, North Dallas area. You don't lose in football. You just don't. That makes massive impact on how a youngster growing up plays. I was second string. I wasn't that good an athlete. I was first string punter, but that's a longer story. I was second string, and I was actually a pretty decent athlete. I didn't play at my high school. Now, it could have been a variety of different reasons, but I can promise you it's partly due to pressure and anxiety. Okay? Parents coming into it, how that changes the dynamics that unfold in these nonlinear systems. Before I get to task and strengths, I want to make mention that an ecological dynamics framework for those wanting to explore it a little bit more is underpinned by ecological psychology and nonlinear and or dynamical systems. Migrations of birds, ant colonies, traffic patterns, people. Task being the last one of the three. Performer, environment, task. The one that's often left last mainly because we can, as coaches, manipulate that one easier. We can change and set up tasks differently to channel behavior. You'll see in some of these videos that are getting ready to pop up how there may be cones that are set up. I'm not a massive proponent of cones on a regular basis, specifically as the season approaches, because there aren't cones on football field. That's the sport I work predominantly with. One thing I want to mention too in these videos that are getting ready to come up, I want you to view this through the lens of who do you work with? I could put 35 sports up here. I'd need a 4-hour timeline. I'll probably already go over by about 2 hours. I'm just kidding. Jeff's after this and you guys want to be here for his. But with that being said, I want you to look at it through your lens of who you work with on a regular basis. I want to make note of the journey we're getting ready to go on together. I mentioned that it might get a little bit interesting to a few of you because of the fact that I care about people, but I'm going to be a little less sensitive to feelings. I'm going to ask of you to physically get up in a moment here when we start to take this journey together and position yourself in one of these 6 locations where there's a green cone set out. So physically getting up and moving to it, you make a decision based off of your beliefs, based off how you view sport movement skill. Maybe it's a comfort factor. Maybe it's where you'd be comfortable going with your athlete or athletes as a sport movement skill, strength and conditioning coach, sport coach. And I'm going to encourage this interaction where we can interact together and speak to why. It might be because I don't go any further than step number 2 because I don't believe in doing this over here for various reasons. So before we hit this journey together, I want to make one last point, and that is the weight room certainly has benefit. Absolutely. It allows us to carry out functions, enhance our action capabilities that we display on field, on court, on rink. It absolutely has merit. The problem I see, and I associated predominantly with a technical model approach for probably 7.5 years. At mid-level universities, major universities, private sector. A lot of my athletes are performing despite our team. So I started to ask myself questions. With that being said, I think we as an industry need to start to walk further along this bridge rather than slapping the athlete on the ass and telling him, good luck, I hope you do well in sport. The sport coaches, while they're brilliant, some of them do a phenomenal job. A lot of them, you walk out to the practices, and there's nothing but closed drills, capital D, that are ensuing. We don't see activities. We don't see problem-solving spaces unless we're running a team. Now, I'm not going to get a chance to get into constraining to a forward, I don't think too much today, but affordances, or opportunities for action for those particular individuals, constraining them through space, time, opponents, to encourage them to interact with affordances that might be more useful for them. I think we need to do a better job of taking them further across the bridge, or we as a team going further across the bridge. That way they are more attuned, heightened sensitivity to the relevant perceptual variables present in their sporting context. Versus it being now they squat more. Yes, I use squat. Now they clean more. Don't really use that often anymore. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just different. So remember, with this here, different way in which you view this and what you're getting ready to see as a plyometric movement, I want you to also think about how you coach these particular movements as to whether you associate. So before I hit click here, you're going to notice there's a weight room right here, some glute ham raises, some platforms, some trap bars, Olympic lifting platforms. Very important, but it's not where we need to stop. So from this point moving forward, when you see a video pop up and it associates with something that you have or would do, I want you to physically get up and move to that corner of the room. Now I will tell you right away, if we don't get in an active engagement, I'll turn this off and we'll stare at each other for 20 more minutes. And I am not kidding. I don't care if you tell Sean this is the worst presentation you've ever heard. I'm not out to make friends, I'm out to learn. I know I'm going to learn something today. So please get up for me. Let's make it humorous. Let's actually have interaction, okay? Let's have interaction. And oh, by the way, you can actually change as you start to see things unfold. And I realized, perfect setup, Tyler. So I thought I was ahead of the game. I was going to put the cones back there so you can actually see the videos. And I realized you're not going to be on camera, so you might have to peek over and see the video. All right, first one. All right, just click past it. There we go. Okay, pretty simple. Let's watch it again. Little counter movement jump. There we coach in the balance collapse on this knee right here. Might be beneficial too. I'm just pointing that out for a reason. Other guys bow-legged. Let's watch it again. Is this something you have done or would do, and think about how you coach it? I want you to get up and make your way to the corner over here. It's probably going to be a vast majority of it. I would be over there with you, by the way. And you guys can actually shift back a little bit towards the other wall because I'm obviously a fool and didn't understand my spatial situation. Alright, next one. Next one. That's step one on the bridge together. So hopefully we're all helping our athletes. That sounds pretty sweet. So we're not just dropping them off at the weight room, which I know that can actually happen in the weight room too. And I want to speak to this change in direction quickly. Does anybody coach the plyometric work differently than just allowing them to perform it independent of anything else? Does anybody do or coach anything different? Raise your hand. Garrett, what do you do different? Okay, so they're actually reacting off of somebody else moving. All right, so now we've got different information present in the environment. Good. Anybody else? What about creating perturbations? Okay, a little bit of jostle as they're in the air. What about encouraging them to land differently each time they land? Not the same way. What about adding an object that they're catching at the top as they land? Okay, hopefully that starts to kind of spark some thought process with it. Next one, CODS, change of direction speed. Yes, change of direction is present in agility, but change of direction speed is an independent skill. It's pre-planned. Not saying it's not beneficial, it's just different. Might look something like this. Let's watch it again. Okay, if you would do something like this or have done, I want you to move a little bit further. I know we got a lot of people and I really appreciate you moving, but let's move towards the second column. If you don't, let's actually make sure we create some separation back over here. Anybody not move there? Please raise your hand if you did not move. And it's okay to skip stages, by the way. Anybody not move, okay? Most everybody moved. Does anybody disagree with maybe doing this, that stayed back there because you're not comfortable with the way that this is displayed? Because everybody moved, even some of my friends that view an ecological dynamics framework. It's okay. Why might you use this, even if you have an ecological dynamics? Well, combine. I train the sport of combine. Absolutely. Different sport.